Yep.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got it.
Okay, sweet. Hi, everyone. Meteorologist Ethan Emery and the Chief here with us for 19atSIX.
Yeah, and Ethan, over the past couple of years, has done this at 6 o'clock. He's working the morning show now. And because we have vacation schedules, I'm here in this evening. And looks like we've got the possibility of some severe weather coming our way. But things are working out so far to be in our favor. We're going to keep our fingers crossed that the typical time of day issue and all that begins to take precedence and weakens the systems that comes our way. But we still have the chance of severe weather, but it's not as dangerous looking a situation as it was earlier. And I'll tell you what, we can zoom out a little bit here, and you can see that the activity, if you look behind us, is all here in western Indiana. So
I'll put that up full screen for you.
There you go. And so you can see some really strong storms crossing the Wabash River right now, south of 70 there in western Indiana. So that would be in the Terre Haute area and south of that. And then again up to the north. But we're looking at that, there's basically a far northern part of this, which is up around Fort Wayne into Michigan. And then there's a southern part of this. And it certainly looks like what we're going to see here is it's straight line winds, okay? What are you going to say, Ethan?
Oh, no, I agree with you fully. Straight line wind threat still looks to be kind of the primary threat with these storms.
Okay, what you put the arrow in there for?
Oh, I was just drawing this since it was full screen. That way they could see what we're talking about.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe you were trying to point out something specific that you saw. Okay, what's the little outline mean on the warning there? You're the one that set all that up.
All right, so most of these are orange, just meaning it's a base warning, meaning 60-mile-per-hour wind gust and hail maybe less than an inch of diameter. So not looking at large hail from this system, but wind gusts certainly close to 60 miles per hour. The white outline here you see, which this is including portions of I-69 in southwestern Indiana, that is for a considerable tag, meaning wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour, which, again, something we discussed earlier today on 10:15, where we could be looking at a few thunderstorms making their way here with those kind of wind gusts.
Now, if you were watching us a short time ago, we were watching a cell that was right here around the bend in the interstate, and that has now moved off to the north and east, and it's gotten larger, but it's gotten weaker. I mean, it doesn't have the core it did before, but it does look like it's going to be a big rain producer, but it's only a small one. And what you're noticing is every once in a while you see a cell. Here's one that's down west of Louisville, northeast of Evansville, but there's just not much here in the warm sector where the humid air is, and so we're going to have to wait till this gets here. And when it gets here, it looks like the chief problem is going to be essentially straight line winds. Okay, turn off the cloud cover, put the watches on, and you'll see that the red there is a tornado watch that is in effect. I don't know the time on it, but let's see. I can give it to you here on the air. Tornado watch. It'll pop up here in a second. So tornado watch until 8 p.m. Sunday Eastern Daylight Time. Okay, so that tornado watch is in effect up to our viewing area, and that does not include anybody in the Fox 19 Now viewing area, but it is on its way.
Oh, meteorologist Erin Ashley texted us. She's doing the morning shift for Catherine. Catherine's off this week, and she's going to come in a little bit early. Just
1:30 is a lot early, but and I'll be here. I'll still be here when she gets here. But tell you what, this is the second severe episode we've had since she's been employed here. And one time she worked the whole day, went home, and then came back to help me work on a severe situation. So
great teammate.
We were glad that we hired her. So
could be a little busy this week too with Wednesday and Thursday.
Once we get past this, we have to talk about the possibility of more severe weather Wednesdays, flooding rains Wednesday into Thursday, and then it looks like additional rainy weather Friday and Saturday. The good news for us is the last day the Reds are in town is Wednesday. Remember, we are the weather provider, the official weather provider for the Cincinnati Reds. This is our 12th year of doing that. We're also now the flagship station for the Reds in local TV.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot going on with the Reds, and Ethan was taking care of them this morning. We both worked together on them this afternoon, and they got the game without any rain, and they've got the tarp on the field, and they're ready to go for the night. So let's talk about this again. So there could be considerable damage. What would you say, 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts?
Yeah, up to 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. I was actually looking at velocity while you were talking. I hopefully wasn't looking to be rude. I was just looking at velocity.
We're used to that with you.
I'm a millennial. I'm on my phone all the time, right? Avocado toast, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah,
but
I tell you what, Things went downhill after us, what generation am I? I'm kind of the rear end of...
You're the boomer.
Of the boomers, yeah. I mean...
The butt end of the boomer.
I was born in 53, and so that's kind of the rear end of the boomers. So.
Yeah. But I was looking at radar velocity scans, and it does look like wind gusts over 60 miles per hour in this area right in here. And along with that, I was also trying to see if there were any kind of indicators of rotation along that line, the leading edge potential, and I'm really not seeing it.
Well, and remember, we were talking before we came back in here from the Weather Center, we were talking about, hey, I'm looking at the shear tracks here.
Yeah.
And they're just, I mean, every once in a while, when we're talking about shear track, we're talking about wind shear that generates rotation. For example, here's one way the wind shear, if you've got winds at lower levels going like this and winds at higher levels going faster, that generates rotation in that layer. If that rotation is sucked up into a thunderstorm, it can help cause that thunderstorm to rotate enough to cause a tornado. So when we're talking about shear tracks, we're talking about the generation of rotation by winds moving at different speeds and directions. Yeah. And we just didn't see any of that. I mean, every once in a while there's a little dot, but when you got a big tornado situation, you can follow those, and it's like it gets scary looking. So
yeah, and the latest data we've been looking at, all it looks to promote is at most a brief spin up as that line moves here, but even then, straight line winds is going to be kind of the primary thing here.
And that's the interesting thing, because when I started in this business a long time ago, they didn't even issue tornado warnings until one was on the ground. I mean, we didn't have the ability to do that. Sometimes, in rare circumstances, it was a big one with a big recognizable hook echo. They could do it ahead of time, like in '74. They did that. But these little leading edge spin outs, we didn't even know they were there. I mean, and now you can see them, and we've been on the air before, and you can say, oh, look at this, there's going to be a leading edge spin up here. You can see it developing on radar, and sure enough.
Yep.
So what he's talking about, those little mini tornadoes, and I always hate to say it that way, mini insignificant tornadoes, because if it's a mini tornado that hits your house, it's not insignificant, but, they can be deadly. So we're dedicated to making sure you get the information about that.
Yep, for sure. And you can see more of these cells trying to fire up. We were talking about earlier that warm sector here. Yep. If you were watching us, it was a little after 5:10, 5:20, something like that. We went live earlier. We were talking about what we've got here. We had those showers move through, and that was an introduction to winds coming in out of the south and west. So now we're beginning to go into what we call the warm sector. So it's the warm air that's kind of fueling in that moisture, fueling in that heat, some of that storm energy. And right now there's a limiting factor to why these discrete cells didn't fire up after 5 o'clock, and that was that limitation of convection or lift between the surface and the clouds. But what we do have here is with this warm sector here, this area of warm air, we are seeing a couple of cells firing up ahead of the line, but it's so far out west. And these cells, they're firing up, it looks like north of Evansville, north of pretty much if you go north of I-64 and east of I-69, there's a little cell there and a lot of lightning with it. There's another cell. I'm not familiar with this region here. Let's go and zoom in.
Yeah, I'm not that. I'm trying to find that cell also.
Bainbridge, Indiana, if you're familiar with that. Also another cell up towards Beech Creek, Indiana. Way out of our viewing area, by the way. But those are the kind of cells we were trying to watch for us. But right now, they even don't look significant. They look like a lot of lightning, good downpour, but they are showing signs of that discrete cell look that we were talking about this morning, yesterday, and some of the updates this afternoon. But our main focus with these thunderstorms still is this line here. And do note, you can even see it here, Steve, that line is beginning to sag and pivot.
And that's what we were talking about. In other words, there's a part of the storm way up here off this, there's a part down here, and it's, as it drags in, we'll have to see what happens here. We're not out of the woods for severe weather,
right?
But we haven't seen any reports of large hail, so large hail's probably not going to be in the picture. And long track tornadoes from discrete, and when we say discrete, we mean individual supercell thunderstorms, and you've seen those all the time. You see them.
What these are trying to be.
Yeah, they're just not making it. Although this one's showing a little bit more promise than the one up here did. So
Yeah.
but watch out. I've seen systems like this, and all of a sudden you've got this line of thunderstorms that can be a big problem. But right now it's looking like still a straight line wind situation with those leading edge spin-ups possibly being a problem.
Yeah. So the timing at this point looks to be after 8 o'clock, and if you want, we can pull up a model that way because people are probably going to be asking about
I
the
think we
timeline.
should.
So I'll go and put this up full screen, and this is your workspace. I don't know where your model data lives.
Neither do I, so that's the problem. I tell everybody when I do these things, this is like my sock drawer. My space on the weather system is kind of like my sock drawer. There's a lot of stuff in there that shouldn't be there. And sometimes it makes it hard for you to find. So here we go. This would be the her. Let me...
That's very wrong. The her is not doing a good job tonight.
No, that doesn't necessarily mean... Let me see what it looks like. Let me check it.
All right, we'll put this back up to us because this model...
this may not be the her, so let's... Yeah,
I updated this earlier. This is the her.
let me change from the extended to the...
If you want to, you can switch it over to... I have the regular and extended on there, so you can just turn off the eyeballs on that, and then the other one. So it's just precip and clouds, her, not the extended. So just above that.
I'm not... I don't...
Right there. Oh.
So okay, just...
There we go.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And it's still having a hard time.
Okay,
so.
see, it's one of the things about the models. Sometimes the models really help, and sometimes they're not perfect. And this is at 6 p.m. My gosh, and that's 12 minutes ago. So
and it looks like a nightmare scenario for us.
Yeah, and so let's change models on this. Do you have? Let's see. Let's go.
No, it's a different.
No, see what the graph says.
All right. While you're getting that loaded up, I'll take a look at some of the questions
Well,
and comments we've got.
Apparently the graph, there we go. Now that looks better,
That's a
but
little better.
That still doesn't look great because we don't have that precipitation in here yet. So so it just might be a little bit off time-wise. Oh, and this is base reflectivity now, so let's see. The graph rapid update says the same thing. So the models are not serving us well today. And that's one of the things we've learned over the years with working with the Reds. We go from forecasting a day ahead of time, the day of, but during the games, when rain's threatening, it's actually something called nowcasting. And what you're looking at, the models, the fastest model we have right now comes around about every hour and a half. Mm-hmm. It's run every hour, but it's like an hour and a half after the observations that we get it. So so that's basically worthless for us. And then we can say, oh yeah, maybe by the ninth inning we'll see some showers. But when the rain is ongoing, we just have to look at radar, watch what things are growing, what are weakening, take a look at satellite images to see if you see any cloud cover developing. And so in this case, yeah, it's not helping at all. There's just no good information here because it just doesn't jibe with what we see.
No, it's not, unfortunately. But what we pushed out on the First Alert Weather app, the timeline, I wrote up a graphic. About 8 o'clock is when we're expecting to see that line begin to make its way into far western portions of the Fox 19 now viewing area. Oops, hit the wrong thing. It's going to show the regional view. But, I mean, this is a pretty powerful system. It's bringing with it a lot of significant weather for folks in Missouri, Arkansas, southern Illinois. I mean, earlier today, I was actually telling Steve, it was southwest of Lafayette, Indiana. Is that how you pronounce it?
Lafayette.
Lafayette, Indiana. Thank you.
If you're in New Orleans, it'd be Lafayette.
So there was a wind gust of 85 miles per hour. So really strong winds from this storm system as it was developing. But it's moving into a less favorable environment. But still, with that being said, it's still going to be enough for the potential of damaging straight line winds.
So we're looking at, according to this model run that I've got, this is the HRR again, the HRRR, we're looking at somewhere between 8 and 9 for it to make it into downtown Cincinnati. And so that would mean before like 8-ish, as he just mentioned, to our viewing area in southeast Indiana.
Yeah, I'm going to look at there's an update from the Weather Service on Slack. I'm going to take a look at it real quick.
Okay. So let me, let's tell you what,
I'll let you take the wheel. I'll move over here.
Okay. All right. So you can see, and here's the interesting thing. Look at all the warnings that have disappeared.
Yeah. This is the Weather Service in Indianapolis. So
okay, what
it's going to be for this area here. It says that an increase in storm intensity from just west of Spencer, although you can't really see that on this map here, highlighted here. Area of greatest threat of wind and perhaps hail of the next 90 minutes. So Bloomington around 7 o'clock, and in Brown County around 7:30.
Well,
so that's going to make this.
It's trying to form a bow echo there. So that says straight line winds. So.
Yep. So straight line winds. So I'm feeling pretty confident saying 8 o'clock for folks in Decatur County, Ripley County, perhaps even into
and then
Franklin County.
Then closer to 9 into like Hamilton, Butler, the Boone, Kenton, and Campbell counties. And then, of course, the farther east you go, the later it gets.
Yeah. So.
So let's see. I'm looking at those cells, and I'm looking at velocity values. And, yeah, you're looking at 60-mile-an-hour winds. There's a few hundred feet up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they still definitely have the ability to do that. And I don't know. So Indianapolis says this segment right here is increasing in intensity now.
Well, no, it's moving into a favorable environment to maintain its intensity. Yeah.
So okay, so I'm not sure I agree with them, but we'll find out.
Yeah. So at least looking at wind gusts over 60 miles per hour with that line here, which is making its direction straight towards Decatur and Ripley counties. Again, ETA, if you're in Versailles or Osgood, Batesville, Greensburg, between 8 and 8:30.
And this cell down here is starting to hold together even more and get a little bit stronger. So we'll have to see what happens with that. So, and we're keeping an eye on it. We're going to continue to let you know. Storm Prediction Center hasn't put out any kind of statement about our neck of the woods yet. Although that tornado watch comes just up to our viewing area, so we'll have to see
I'll turn
what
that
happens
on
in the
real
next
quick.
few hours.
That way folks can see what we're talking about with the watches. So, again, yeah, we have no watches right now in the Fox 19 Now viewing area, but areas just to the west, a tornado watch in effect, west of Connorsville, west of Greensburg, all the way towards Bloomington, where this line is beginning to bow out. So we should be hearing from the Storm Prediction Center rather soon on what they're going to do with the watch here, whether it's going to be a severe thunderstorm watch or a tornado watch, although I would say probably a severe thunderstorm watch. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I'm gonna, but we don't have a meso out yet. A mesoscale discussion is what the Storm Prediction Center puts out, usually in advance of issuing a watch. Not always, but most of the time. And yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be severe thunderstorm watch. Although I'm looking at this. And based on cloud tops, I don't see anything that indicates that the National Weather Service in Indianapolis is correct. However, if you look, yeah, I think from Bloomington southward is the stuff that's going to enhance. The cloud tops are coming down here, so these are weakening. But if you look at the way this is moving, so it's coming right our way. So we're talking about 8 o'clock, as Ethan mentioned, 8 o'clock-ish when you get into Decatur County, somewhere between 8:30 and 9 when you get into downtown Cincinnati, that would be the city of Hamilton, down here into Boone, Kenton, and Campbell counties, and then progressively later as you head off to the east. And we'll just keep an eye on it, and we'll let you know.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else we need to tell anybody?
I got some comments on Facebook.
Okay, go ahead and grab those. And
there we go.
Remember, I am not the greatest generation, but we're the boomer generation, so social media is not always friendly to us. So that's why he's doing it.
All right, so Christina was asking a few minutes ago about wanting to know the hour by hour. Well, that was the thing we discussed a little bit ago, that model data, the hour by hour data. Right. It's a tool. Sometimes it's very helpful. In this case, it has not been helpful.
Well, and sometimes it's the way they set up a model like that, it's got to calculate all this stuff, and it's literally calculating when thunderstorm, and sometimes it's too sensitive, and in this case it turned out to be too sensitive, and so it's not helpful at all.
So people are asking, is it weakening? Are we still going to see severe thunderstorms? With the sun dying down, are these storms going to fall apart?
Well, based on what I'm seeing, based on the fact that the Storm Prediction Center hasn't said anything about us yet, and I'm looking at cloud tops here, and they're all basically from Bloomington, so from here northward, they're all dropping. These are still, kind of holding, but according to the Weather Service in Indy, it's all moving into an environment here that's really favorable, and I don't see it being that favorable, but it's probably favorable for maintenance, as you mentioned. So I don't think we're going to see much. I still think we probably will get some warnings out of this, mainly for straight line winds, and we'll just have to see what the Weather Service's, the SPC, Storm Prediction Center, is thinking. And I'm thinking severe thunderstorm watch too. If that, they may see something that we don't see. And I don't see any update on any of the
Me neither.
watches.
No, but for folks who are curious, if you're just joining us, Steve actually brought up this timeline. Around 8 o'clock for folks in Decatur County, Fayette County, Ripley County. Between 8:30 and 9 for folks in Dearborn, rest of Franklin, Union, Ohio, and then rest of Switzerland County, Carroll County. Around 9-ish or so for downtown Cincinnati, and then eastward between 9 and 10.
And the weakening, it should be weakening as it goes that way. So
Yeah, so still the greatest threat for severe weather is going to be our western counties, as we've been kind of really talking about the last few days. South of I-74, west of I-75 has the greatest potential. I mean, based on these warnings, wouldn't you agree, Steve?
Yeah.
Based on these warnings and kind of the way this is bowing out,
Right.
those areas, southern Decatur, Ripley, Dearborn, Ohio, Switzerland counties.
And a couple hours ago, the warnings were all like southwest this way. Now the orientation of the axis is this way, so that's showing it the way it's moving. And then, some of these little cells are kind of worrisome here. The ones that, not in our area, but so this little one we've been watching that's north of Jasper, notice that it is. Look at that. See it, the cloud top?
Yep.
So it's growing pretty well. That's
So this one here, or is this one down
this
here?
one down here.
This one down here. Okay, so that one is still maintaining itself, but not a warned storm, but it is moving into an environment that's going to at least maintain its strength.
Yeah, it looks like it's trying to grow into a. Let me see if I can get a closer radar. What's the closest radar to Evansville, I guess, at this point?
Folks at Indianapolis are saying the storm intensity over Indianapolis, pea-sized hail. So, again, we've been discussing the threat of hail has not been really showing at this point. Small hail, probably possible with this as this line moves in. Heavy rain, potentially damaging straight line winds. A lot of lightning with these storms as they move in after 8 o'clock. Now, tornado threat, it has gone down. It's not zero, but it has gone down. If anything, maybe a leaning edge spin up, which is those really small, brief tornadoes that you may see. Okay, so
that's
there's
that little one. So it's starting to show supercell characteristics as it moves north and eastward.
Okay, but as it moves up, it's going to have a hard time maintaining itself as this line cuts it off, which that was something that the model data actually did a pretty good job at indicating earlier today with these discrete cells as they developed, how long would they last when they developed until that line pretty much takes over.
Yeah, that was the other issue we had to deal with because earlier on, a couple days out, you're already looking at the possibility of severe weather today. We were already talking to the Reds about the game. And one of the things we had to decide, we decided earlier that the stuff this morning would not be severe. So for the Reds, who played at 140, they have all that. They have batting practice. They have all that set up, all that field prep to do. And if they get dumped on or if they get severe weather, they can't do that. And so one of our jobs today was to make sure that the Reds knew that there'd be rain in the morning, there'd be a break, and then we'd go after the game was over into that chance of severe weather. And they've got extra weight on the tarps and that now. They put little tractors on top of it to hold the tarp down just in case they get into a severe storm with a lot of wind. So, okay.
Yeah, no really new updates on comets. So again, we're still watching this line of thunderstorm activity. There are a couple of cells that have fired up ahead of this line. But, I mean, although they do look a little concerning, I really believe that this is just going to slow down as it gets towards Bloomington before this line takes over. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to die out. I mean, that could be just enough to make it get stronger. So, but yeah, it's because this is moving like this and this is moving faster, so they're going to catch up. But
yeah.
Okay.
So 8 o'clock timeline for folks to our west: Decatur County, Ripley County, Fayette County. Around 9 o'clock, between 9 and 9:30 for downtown Cincinnati, Hamilton down towards northern Kentucky to the Covington area, and then closer to 10 o'clock for folks in, say, Milford, Lebanon, down to Falmouth, and then after 10 o'clock for our far eastern locations. And then by midnight, the severe threat pretty much done and over with, just looking at some lingering showers, some rumbles of thunder. And then temperatures cool down on Monday afternoon, which the 7-day forecast, I mean, does look a little interesting. We can show that real quick, as we normally do on 19atSIX.
Now, this is an old version of the 7-day forecast. So what? Let me see if I've got the version you used this morning. Which one did you use this morning?
Do the 7-day PM master. I did update that one.
Oh, okay, cool.
So this one doesn't show any first alert weather days because so far, after today, we don't have one.
And then we have that real obnoxious full screen thing that says next.
Yep, and then one more time. There we go. So temperatures fall tomorrow. I mean, it's going to be a little chilly in the afternoon.
Yeah, behind this system. So we're on the warm side of it, the warm southwesterly flow, dew points feeling like it's part of summer already. And then tomorrow, blustery, or at least breezy, I should say, with temperatures falling back. Notice when you look at this, it's 55 for the low, 47 for the high. But when we have a upside down day, as we call it, we put the morning temperature there and the afternoon. So in most cases, this is low and high. But when we've got falling temperatures, it's the morning and then the later in the day, afternoon or evening temperature. Yeah. So we do fall off quite a bit, and that means the wind chill will be in the 30s. But notice Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday is kind of the beginning of what's going to be a pretty active pattern here over the tri-state. Wednesday afternoon, there is a concern for strong to severe thunderstorms, and that threat also continues into Thursday with the threat of strong thunderstorms. But I will say the biggest concern right now is not just the severe thunderstorm threat, but also the heavy rainfall threat. There is potential for flooding Wednesday, Thursday, going even into the weekend, Friday and Saturday, some very heavy rainfall forecast to move into the Fox 19 now viewing area. And model data, do we have a new?
This is a mezzo about the tornado watch to the southwest of us.
Okay.
And they're saying that radar data shows a number of supercells down to the southwest. So they're going to continue that tornado watch, not including us, that's off to the southwest of Louisville, actually.
Okay. Just to make sure, I just saw that and I wanted to make sure that
and they're talking about wind gusts to 70 miles an hour, so okay.
Okay. But yeah, we're going to be monitoring Wednesday and Thursday in particular for the severe threat, but also Wednesday through Saturday, the threat for flooding. And I was actually looking at the Ohio River forecast, Steve, and for Cincinnati, I think it only goes out to, I believe, Thursday.
Yeah.
And it has the forecast crest at 35 feet.
Okay, so it's probably going to be higher than that. Action stage in Cincinnati is 40 feet. That's when some of the low-lying areas, some streets that come to an end right at the river and that begin to see water. And it really, when you get into the mid-40s, is when you have more widespread stuff. Tornado watch was extended. Let's see what that means. They've now included Decatur County in it. That's what I just saw, because I saw Decatur. So here we go.
Yep, Decatur County is now included in the tornado watch.
So they extended that. That is because, remember the segment we showed you where the severe thunderstorm warnings were? They've extended it southward and eastward a little bit. So that'll come up. Go ahead and.
All right, we'll get this up here real quick. We're on technology time. There we go. So now Decatur County is included. This is in effect until 8 o'clock?
Let's see. It is in effect until 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So.
Okay. So here's it up full screen for you. That way you can see it. That county that's outlined there, right where the I-74 symbol is, that's Decatur County. and that is now included in that tornado watch until 8 p.m.
So that includes Greensburg, and if you're in Batesville, you're right on the edge of it. So, I mean, some people that consider themselves in Batesville are in that watch. Others that are in the farther eastern parts of Batesville, not officially in it, but be aware. Okay, and you know what? I got to make sure that that is up on the air. So,
yeah, we don't have a way to see it. We do have some sunshine, though, on the tower camera, so.
All right, so I tell you what, I'm going to let you finish this up. I'm going to go to master control and make sure that we've got what we need on the air.
Okay, I went ahead and muted Steve's microphone. That way you can go down and make sure that we have our...
I can cut, oh, I can't because they'll hear me over your mic. So that's all I want to now. Okay, so then you just finish it up, and I will make sure that it's all set up.
Okay. All right, so again, we still have the tornado watch is in effect for Decatur County until 8 o'clock, which, with them extending it that far out, we will need to monitor whether or not they issue a severe thunderstorm watch or a tornado watch for the rest of the Fox 19 Now viewing area. As Steve and I were discussing, it looks like it'll be more than likely a severe thunderstorm watch, but what Indianapolis was doing, and I tend to agree with this, there is some of that supercell development, and it's going to be kind of dependent on how fast this line moves versus how fast the supercells develop. They're going to kind of merge together right in here. So there could be, there could be some rotation within that storm as it makes its way closer towards Decatur County. Again, ETA right around 8 o'clock for folks towards the Greensburg area. We're currently at 6:30. The storm line is currently near the Bloomington area. For folks who are wanting to see the model data, unfortunately, the model data has been really bad here the last couple of hours, so it doesn't really do a benefit to really show you that at this point. And again, it's just a tool. A good meteorologist tries to use it as a tool, but you know when the tool's bad. You know when the hammer's broken. In this case, the hammer is very broken. So last comments or thoughts before we go ahead and close things off? All right, people are asking about different locations here. All right. No, nothing really new there at that point. So what we're going to do is Steve and I are going to regroup, take a look at some of this data. Again, tornado watch now in effect for Decatur County until 8 p.m. That's because we are looking at the potential for thunderstorms that could be strong to severe between now and 8 p.m., although it's closer to 8 p.m. for those folks in Greensburg. And that line is going to primarily bring damaging straight line winds. A tornado threat cannot be ruled out for those folks in that location of, again, Decatur County. But that watch in effect until 8 p.m. Now, when a watch gets issued for the Fox 19 Now viewing area, at this point, it's a when, if not. It's a when, not if scenario. There we go. And once we know that, we'll push that out on social media. You'll get it on the app, the First Alert Weather app. And at that point, we will kind of reconvene and do what we need to do its best, whether we go back live on here or if we go on the air. But at this point, we're monitoring these lines of thunderstorms, pretty much following I-69 here. And it's moving from west to east. Main threat, damaging straight line winds, heavy rainfall, a lot of lightning, small hail. A brief spin up cannot be ruled out with this, but the straight line wind threat has become the very dominant risk with these storms. So timeline around 8 o'clock for folks in Greensburg, Connorsville, Osgood for Sales, Cincinnati area between 9 and 9:30. Downtown Cincinnati, also Hamilton, Westchester, Harrison, Covington, Independence, down to Walton, Owenton, and then after 10 o'clock for areas east of I-75. So Claremont, Warren, Pendleton counties around 10 o'clock, and then closer to 11 o'clock for our far eastern locations, Clinton, Highland, Adams, Lewis counties there. So at this point, we've got to conclude things here. Again, I have to regroup with the chief here, and if we need to go back on, we certainly will. But in the meantime, though, make sure I have ways to have alerts here this evening and to tonight. I am stalling a little bit to see if the watch does come out or if we have any word on the watch. But unfortunately, time is not in our favor for this at the moment. Okay. At this point, we're going to close things off. Appreciate all of you who've been joining us here for this 19 at 6 weather show. Again, we're going to break down any coverage that we need to, break in if we need to in the event of a warning, have ways to receive alerts, and if not, we'll see you at 10 o'clock right here on Fox 19 Now.